everybody, and welcome to this month's Saturday Storytime and Craft, and Happy New Year. Yes. So, I'm saying Happy New Year for two reasons. Number one, this is our first Saturday Storytime and Craft for the year, right? So, first time I've seen you since last year. But in addition, it is Lunar New Year. So, two New Years that are happening. If you don't know what Lunar New Year is, Lunar New Year is a form of like New Year's for people who follow the lunar calendar. The lunar calendar follows the phases of the moon, and the first new moon of the new year marks the new year. So usually they go by like animal zodiacs. So this year is the year of the snake. Yes. So for this Lunar New Year, I'm actually going to be reading a very, very interesting book called Beautiful Warrior, The Legend of the Nuns Kung Fu. Yes, this is by Emily Arnold McCulley. Emily Arnold McCulley. Now, just a disclaimer for the parents and guardians who might be watching this as well with their little one. This one is probably the longest Saturday Storytime and Craft book that we've chosen. It's an interesting story, but admittedly, attention spans be attention spanning. So just keep that in mind. But if you've got some like elementary school age children as well, if you might think they'd be interested as well, I think you might like it too. And of course, you as the parent and guardian, I think you like it as well. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get to this book, Beautiful Warrior. Now, it's a wide book, so I am going to try my best to scan the pictures after I'm done reading a passage. But just to show you how wide it is, this is the whole wideness of the book. Beautiful. Beautiful. All right, let's get into the book. Oh, this is a nice page right here. Very nice. Now, this book actually takes place in China and such, but an older time period. So you're going to hear some things that are like, oh, wait, what? Why is that? So you'll see. Here we go. All right, let me line it up. Good. So, long ago, in the reign of the last Ming emperor, a baby girl was born in the Forbidden City. Following Chinese custom, her parents watched for signs of her true nature before they chose a name. Something in the steady gaze of her brown eyes struck deep in her father's heart. "We will call her Jingyang," which means quiet courage, he announced. The infant seemed to him marked to follow an exceptional path in life and would need the tools to find it. Girls born at court were sent to the ladies-in-waiting to learn their precious ways, have their feet bound, and pursue idle pastimes, never leaving the palace walls. "I refused to do that to Jin Young," her father declared. Instead, he sent her to the tutors as if she were a son. She studied the 5 pillars of learning: art, literature, music, medicine, and martial arts. Jin Yong was a prodigy, excelling especially at martial arts. Kung Fu taught her to use her ki, or vital energy. With ki, softness could prevail over hardness. A yielding force master a brute one. In Kung Fu contests, Jin Yong proved that a slight, small girl could defeat a brawny youth. "Who will want to marry an educated woman?" Jin Yong's mother wailed. "And one adept at Kung Fu, too." "She will find her own path," her father said. So this is our pictures right here. So this Jin Yong is a baby, and the father talking to the wife about how she wants her to learn all the things that anyone should be able to learn, boy or girl. And there's Jin Yong doing Kung Fu, besting even the largest boys. All right. One day, when Jin Yong was riding in the western hills, Manchu warriors swept down from over the northern border and conquered the Forbidden City. The Ming dynasty was ended. China's new rulers had separated her from her parents and ended the life Jin Yong had known. From now on, she would have to make her own way. So she was separated from her families. So there's Jin Yong riding, and there's her family all the way over there. So she had to escape. That's a very sad thing to be able to be separated from your family at such a young age. Now, afraid and grieving, she took deep breaths to allow her ki to flow freely through her body. This helped her to concentrate, and she thought of the Shaolin Monastery, where Buddhist monks had practiced kung fu for 1,000 years. Jin Young set off on the path to Shaolin. I wish to continue my studies with you, Jin Young told the monks. I practice kung fu as you do. She tried to keep her mind from filling with worry. Would the monks accept the girl? Let me show you, she cried. Finally, a monk stepped forward to challenge her, and Jin Yong defeated him. The monks were stunned. Join us, the abbot said. So Jin Yong was given the name Wu Mei, meaning beautiful warrior. She shaved her head and became a Buddhist nun. When Shaolin monks begged in the villages, they talked about the nun whose calm concentration never left her. Young men came to Shaolin to study with her, and she taught them if they were sincere and didn't just want to beat somebody up, because we shouldn't be using martial arts just to be beating up anybody. So there is Jin Yang making her way and showing all the monks that she can do amazing things just like them. And there she is defeating the other monk, and there she is now, older, right here, and she shaved her head. See that? Yes, that means she's serious about her training. Now, at the foot of Mount Song lay a village where the Wong family eked out a living selling bean curd. So now we're talking about a different family here. One day, the local magistrate ordered a cartload of bean cakes for a banquet, and young Ming Yi Wong delivered them. The magistrate paid her, and she started to go home, singing, because she had never held such a fat purse. That means there was a lot of money in there. But without warning, two men jumped out from behind a wall. One held a knife to her throat. Hand over the money, he snarled. Ming Yi Wong clutched at the purse. She frantically looked for help, but there was only a tiny nun at the end of the street. Weeping, she held out her treasure. Oh no, there's this young lady, and she's getting... This is what we call being mugged and stuff. So, she's in danger. But look, over there. Don't we know this nun? Don't we know this nun? Let's see. Suddenly, a great wind sucked at them. The nun was drawing a breath. Her body seemed to swell until she towered over the thieves. Her hands sliced the air like knives. Her feet pounded the ground like thunder. The thieves went flying, head over heels. Then the nun seemed to shrink to her original size. Get yourself home, she said to the bean curd seller, and be careful. Who are you? Ming Yi gasped. I am Wu Mei from Shaolin, said the nun, and she hurried away. Look, there's our little girl being saved by the nun who is absolutely taking care of those thieves. So the Wong saved the magistrate's money for Ming Yi's dowry. Life was uneventful until the day a hairy brigand rode into town with his gang. He bought a bean curd cake from Ming Yi. Pretty girl, he shouted. You'll make me a fine wife. And Ming Yi shouted, I will not. I am Sun Ling. Give me your daughter or my gang will break up your shop, he said to Ming Yi's father. Marry him, her terrified father said, or he'll ruin us. Ming Yi cried for hours. When she ran out of tears, she suddenly remembered Wu Mei, the little nun who could trounce Sun Ling, so that he'd never bother her again. Ming Li left a note for her parents, telling them not to worry, and she went to Shaolin Temple on her own. So there's our hairy bean old dude who's trying to marry Ming Yi, and she doesn't want to marry him. But the father is like, please do it to save us all. And Ming Yi cries like so right here. It's all good. But she remembered the nun, so we're going to go find the nun to see if she can help. Here we go. As she approached, the monastery bell pealed in the high air. In a courtyard, the nun sat like a stone under a tree. Ming Yi blurted out her story, and Wu Mei raised her hand. Calm your mind, she said. No problem can be solved by a drunken monkey. Mingyi went on babbling. I've already solved it, she insisted. You just give Sunling a good drubbing. I fight only to save lives, Wu Mei said. Mingyi sank to the ground and howled. My life is wrecked if I have to marry that thug. Or wrecked. Wrecked. I don't know why I said wrecked. Wrecked. Yes. You must save yourself, Wu Mei said. But you know, something about the innocence of this scatterbrained girl touched Wu Mei. Could the bean curd seller learn to be calm, to concentrate, and use her key? Could she find her own way if she were given the tools? It would be a challenge to try to teach her. Do this, Wu Mei said. Tell Sun Ling that he must win you. Tell him you will marry him if he can best you at Kung Fu. Kung Fu! Besides, he's huge! He would smash me like a bean curd cake! Wu Mei laughed. It is not force that prevails, but inner strength. Kung Fu takes a lifetime to learn, but this is an emergency. So I will give you a crash course. It will take a year. Postpone the wedding. Mingyi was very disappointed. She had come all this way, so full of hope, only to be given a crazy plan. But what choice was there? She went home and told Sun Ling, who thought it was hilarious. So did all of his goons. Yes, sure. Why not wait a year? How can I lose? He crowed. Mingyi left her parents and returned to Shaolin Temple, where the lessons began. There's little Mingyi trying to convince the nun to not do this plan, but the nun is very adamant. And there's Sun Ling and his boys laughing up a storm. So let's see how Mingyi can change over a year. Wu Mei led her pupil to a pool of water. Make your mind perfectly calm, like this pool, she instructed. Thoughts are ripples that only disturb it. Mingyi leaned over the pool. Floating, there was her own puzzled face. The nun took her to a rushing stream, Wu Mei said. Water finds the path of least resistance. Nothing is softer than water, yet it wears away the hardest rock. That's so, said Mingyi. But what use of it is it to me? There's Wu Mei looking at her reflection, and then over here, looking at the streams. Right. Here we go. Now, look at the bamboo, Wu Mei went on. When the wind blows, bamboo bends but doesn't break. When the wind changes, it snaps like a whip. Mingyi said, hadn't I better learn to fight? You are learning now, said Wu Mei sincerely. Wu Mei led Mingyi back to a clearing. Watch, said Wu Mei. The stately crane never loses its balance. It moves quickly and pecks at the snake. The snake coils and slithers out of reach, then wraps itself around the crane's legs. Each creature makes use of its body's natural strengths. So there's the bamboo, and it's true. When wind blows, bamboo bends with it. And then there's our crane and the snake. Here we go. Wu Mei took Mingyi to another courtyard where 5 wooden posts were stuck in the earth. My plum poles teach balance and quick reflexes. Mingyi climbed up on top the poles and tried to jump from one to another. And it was impossible. If this is what I must do to fight Sun Ling, I give up now, she cried. Stay, said Wu Mei. Staying on the poles took so much concentration, Mingyi forgot to complain. And after a few weeks, she was sure-footed and able to wave back and forth. Mingyi knew that she was so nimble, Sun Ling wouldn't find it hard to land a blow. When the nun asked, What have you learned? Mingyi answered, To make my feet like roots and my body like a vine. Find the course of least resistance, and soft overcomes hard. Now you must become perfectly calm. Concentrate on nothing, said Wu Mei. This takes discipline. Meditation teaches it. There she is balancing on the poles there. Yes, indeed. That must have taken a lot of effort. So, Wu Mei made Mingyi sit without moving a muscle. She wasn't even allowed to flick a fly off her nose. Whenever Mingyi twitched, Wu Mei rapped her lightly with a stick, and Mingyi renewed her concentration on nothing. Meanwhile, Sun Ling was dying of curiosity. He had heard that Mingyi was at the temple practicing with a woman. He had to see it for himself. He climbed up the wall and peered over, and there was his bride-to-be, sitting like a turtle, while a nun poked her with a stick. He went away again, chortling. Women were so foolish. After a few hours, Wu Mei said, Good. If you remain calm, you will know your opponent's intentions, even before he does. Use his force to defeat him. And there's our little Mingyi getting poked with the stick. And there's big old Sun Ling over there, peering over. He thinks they're just fooling around, but he has no idea what's to come next. As Mingyi meditated and practiced kung fu, she became even more calm and sturdy. She began to feel nothing could upset her. She had stopped being impatient and simply met challenges each day. The world outside Shaolin Temple no longer concerned her. She forgot all about having to defeat Sun Ling in order to win her freedom. She was already free. But one morning she greeted Wu Mei as usual. Let's go to work, master. No, said Wu Mei. The time has come. Mingyi looked puzzled. The year is over. Oh! Mingyi protested. Am I ready, master? You are ready, said the nun. It is up to you now. Mingyi nodded. You have trained well. Your ki is good. You need not overpower him. Only show that he has no power over you, said Wu Mei. And Wu Mei said that Mingyi was ready. So, let's see. Together, they returned to Mingyi's village. Celebration was in the air. Sun Ling and his band of ruffians swaggered about. A wedding feast with fireworks was already prepared and waiting. Concentrate. Flow like water. Yield like bamboo, Wu Mei whispered, before slipping into the crowd. There's our big crowd right here. Everyone's making a big fuss. But here, we can see, right here, that Wu Mei and Mingyi are about to face Sun Ling. Let's see. The contestants faced off. Sun Ling let out a huge grunt. He lifted his fists and circled Mingyi. You are so tiny. I could crush you like a bean cake. Mingyi emptied her mind and concentrated. She could feel her ki flow freely. She could sense what Sun Ling was about to do. He lunged for her, fist punching. She leapt nimbly out of reach and resumed her stance. He attacked again, but Mingyi flowed like water. He swung his arm and she bent like bamboo. Then she snapped back, knocking Sun Ling off of his feet. Again and again, the bully attacked, throwing all of his might at the little bean curd seller. But each time she anticipated him. Finally, his own brute force exhausted him. So there's our stages. So Mingyi's barely even touching him. And without even using a lot of force, she made that fool land right on his back. And Mingyi gathered her ki with such powerful concentration that she lifted Sun Ling over her head and tossed him to the ground. Sun Ling's henchman gasped. Never mind, Sun Ling sputtered, struggling to his feet. I'll find myself a new wife. And Mingyi picked him all the way up and put him right on the ground. And that was enough to get Sun Ling out of the town. Mingyi's parents embraced her. Yours is superior kung fu, daughter, they said. But now we have to find you another husband. It won't be easy. I don't want to get married, said Mingyi. I'm going to devote myself to kung fu. She bowed to Wu Mei. Wu Mei smiled. Kung fu is the work of mastering the self and finding harmony with the universe, she reminded her pupil. It is the effort of a lifetime. And that is the way for me, said Mingyi. And so it was. And that is the end of our story. So, I hope you liked it. I know it's a longer one, but I couldn't be doing this one at a normal story time anyway. So, because, too long, attention spans and everything. But genuinely, I really hope you enjoyed it, and thank you so much for staying and listening. The reason why I wanted to read this story for Lunar New Year is because, well, it's a part of Chinese culture, genuinely. Like, a lot of people just think Kung Fu is all a part, like the movies and stuff like that. We think of Kung Fu Panda. It's a very good movie, but Kung Fu is actually a very strong part of Chinese culture. And China is one of the largest countries that celebrates Lunar New Year. In addition, if you see the shirt right here, I also do Kung Fu. And we actually were able to do a library program on February 1st, should be the same day that this video launches, that actually talks about Lunar New Year. And the Kung Fu school was actually able to do a performance here at the library. So it's still a very strong part of not only Chinese culture, but it's been scattered about all across the world, and it brings people together, almost like music. We saw in this book, this little girl right here, and this woman who also started out as a little girl, they learned that they themselves, as women, as human beings on this earth, were also able to be strong enough, not only just to, pick up big dudes and put them on the ground and stuff like that. But they were strong in the heart. They were also strong in the mind. They were able to have that agency to be like, I want to do what I want to do in life, and I want to be strong. I want to be able to accomplish any goal, regardless of what anybody will say that I can or what I can't do. Because regardless of if you are a boy or a girl, you are capable of doing whatever you want in this life. You just have to put your focus and your nose to the grindstone, and you can do it genuinely. Okay, so all that said, it's time to move on to our craft portion. And so our craft portion is going to be doing with Lunar New Year, and it's actually going to be talking about our lions that you might see during Lunar New Year. Sometimes if you go to a restaurant or a big temple or a festival, you might see these particular lions, and they will actually bring you good luck and stuff like that. It's a very big part of not only Chinese culture, but Asian culture as well. So I'm going to actually show you a small clip of what those lions do when they're moving, because we actually had them come to the library last year, okay? So you're going to look at that, and then we'll actually talk about the craft reviewing. Bye! I hope you enjoyed watching the lion dance video. I hope you have a little bit of an idea of how they're moving. So on that note, for our craft, we're going to be making our own Lunar New Year lion and stuff like that. I know the paper says Chinese New Year. I found it online. It's the best craft I found. Here we go. Yes, but I have a reference sheet for the different lion colors you could use and stuff like that, and you can feel free to use whatever color you want and everything. But you should also have some popsicle sticks inside of the kit as well. And oh, my nose. You should also have a glue stick. In addition, you should also have red slip of paper, like a little rectangle there. In addition, you should also have a watercolor kit. You should also have a paintbrush within that kit as well. Yes. Now, some of the things I really want you to make sure you have on deck is some scissors, and in addition, making sure that you have some water for your watercolors and everything. But without further ado, let's get started. Jumping right in here, we are going to paint our lions first. Now, one of the things I definitely want to recommend, you do not have to paint, like on the left side, you see where it says section B. You don't have to paint the upper part of B. You can if you want to, but you really don't have to because we're going to be gluing the part A to part B, and it's going to be sitting right on top of the upper part of B. In addition, for C, where it has like that blank white area and stuff like that, you really don't have to paint there as well. But to be perfectly honest, just take your time and enjoy this process where you're able to just make the lion whatever color you want. All right. Now, after you're done painting, we highly recommend you let it dry for a little bit before we actually move on to our cutting portion. So I'm gonna let you finish painting and then I'll see you at the next portion. Next, all you gotta do is take your pair of scissors and cut along the black lines of sections A, sections B, and sections C. And then we'll move on to the next portion after you're done cutting. Forgive me in how I'm taking the cutting off out of the camera. We don't even have to hold on to this portion for too long. Because, you don't need to see me cutting it with you, but I still apologize for the fact that I took it out of the screen like that. So, we'll see you after we're done cutting, okay? Don't do what I did. I started cutting before it dried. So please wait till it dries. Okay. See you soon. So for the next portion, we're going to go ahead and get the red slip of paper here, and we're actually going to do an accordion fold. So first, we're going to make a small rectangle fold like so. Make sure you get the crease. Then we're going to flip it over and then do a rectangle starting from where we did the last rectangle. Flipping the red sheet, slowly, taking your time, and repeating the process. Rectangle after rectangle, making sure you crease every time. Doesn't have to be perfect, but we just want to make sure that we maintain the same size rectangle after each fold. Then, once you reach the end, make sure you really get that crease, and then if you unfold it, see, now it's like a little accordion. Very good job. Take your time with this part, and then we'll move on to our next portion. The next thing that we're going to do is we are going to take side B, so like the one where it kind of like has the mouth and the legs and the tail, and we're going to take the head, so that's part A. We're going to line it up like so we can try to get it similar to that, right? So we're going to put A, and we're just going to put it right on the unpainted side, or the upper part of the dotted line. I'm going to put some glue right on the upper dotted line portion, the glue stick, and then a little bit on the back side of the head. Again, please don't do what I did and not do this, or rather, do this before the painting dried. So, please. So then we'll go ahead and put that there. Man, you can really see the shine of that paint. Oh my goodness. Yep, just tap it down. Make sure it's nice and sealed. There you go. Doesn't take much, to be perfectly honest. So, you don't have to go too overzealous with the glue. It'll stay there pretty good. All right. Excellent. Then, after that, once you've got your little lion together and everything, we're going to go and make sure that both of the sides are together. So you can kind of see that there. The next thing that we'll do, though, we're actually going to go for the popsicle sticks. All right. So on the back of the legs, so see, we're going to make sure that we put a little bit of glue, or be generous with this one, on one side of the popsicle stick. And we're going to put the popsicle stick at the bottom of the legs here, so section C, and we're going to try to stick it together. And if you don't want to use the glue sticks, you can feel free to use tape, but the glue stick surprisingly works fairly well. So make sure you hold and you press for a decent amount of time, maybe a few seconds. Make sure it's nice and secure. And there you go, nice and together. You're going to repeat that process for the A and B portions now that they're glued together. And repeating the same thing that you did with C, we're going to take the popsicle stick. We're going to glue generously on the edge of the popsicle stick. We're going to flip over the lion and glue and put some glue on where we're going to be sticking the popsicle stick in the first place. Yep, right there. Then, once you've got a generous amount of glue there, we'll attach the popsicle stick to that small portion of glue. And we'll repeat the process and we will hold, making sure that it's really starting to seal itself, okay? Hold it nice and steady for just a few seconds. Very good. You're doing a very good job. Nice thing about crafts is you can take your time. You don't have to rush. You can go at your own pace. There we go. All right. And there you have it. You got your popsicle sticks. Now we're going to connect the two sides of our lion with the red strip of paper that we made into like a little bit of an accordion, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to pick one side of it, preferably a part that's pointing downward. As you can see, I've already done this once and I kind of messed up. That's why you see the red stripe. Anyway, we're going to put glue on the back side of our A and B portion combined together. So like the lion's head, right? And then we're going to pick our side. There we go. Preferably the side that's pointing downward. Get some glue on it. Be fairly generous. Then make sure that that is stuck nice and good right there on the back side of our lion's head. Okay? Very good. Now, this next portion, where I messed up before, we're going to make sure that we actually have... So, as you can see, it's attached like so, right? Then we're going to make sure that we have the red stripe right on top of the legs. So you're going to go ahead and put some glue generously right there above the legs in section C. Then you're going to put some glue on the opposite end of the red accordion paper. And we're going to glue it on top of the legs like so. Excellent. Make sure you hold that there. Make sure you really rub it down. And there you have it. They're connected. And there you go. You have your little lion that you can play with. Now, it kind of looks like what happens, when you saw the video, right? When you have the two people in the lion, you have them over there, and you can move it around and play with it. So yeah, very good job. Now, still be mindful. It's held by glue, so you can't be too rough with it, okay? But you can still have it be very flexible and you can play with it. So, well done. Very good. But we're not done yet. We've got one more thing to talk about. Alrighty, now as you can see, we had an extra lion in the kit. Now, we have a uncolored version right here, but that's totally alright. I want to show you that there is a different way to do the lion. My wife was just like, well, how about we try it a different way? So, what I recommend, go ahead, find that portion of the red strip that's pointing downward. Put a good glue on it just like as per usual. And this time, instead of doing it vertically, I want you to do it horizontally on the back of the lion head, like so. This portion is pretty much the same except the fact that it's horizontal now. Now the red strip of paper should be accordioning down towards the legs, right? Should be flowing downward. Now, on the other side, we're going to put glue on the other strip, right? And we're going to connect the legs from that portion. Same thing that we did before, but now it's, instead of going side to side, now it's going up and down. So go ahead and put that glue on the other side of the strip. And we're going to put some more glue on the legs. And we're going to attach it like so. Be generous with the grip there. All right. And there you have it. You have a different lion type. Now it's works a little bit differently than the other one, like so, but you can move it differently. So now it can like gallop and stuff like that. And some lions, they're very acrobatic, and you can do like shoulder sits for the people who are inside the lions, like so. So it's pretty fun. But yeah, with that said, let's go ahead and conclude. Let's review. So we've got our original line here with the popsicle sticks. Yes, indeed. The one that's going side to side. And we have our vertical one, which you can add popsicle sticks to it, but it truly doesn't need it. So once again, happy Lunar New Year, everybody. I really, really appreciate the time today. And I hope you have a good rest of your year. And we'll see you next time. Enjoy your lions. And remember, whatever you want to do in life, you can do it. All right. Have a good one. Bye-bye.